There are very few games that even have the potential to be masterpieces. Metro 2033 is one of them, because despite all its issues, despite everything wrong with it, at its core was a commitment to being a survival shooter, and a pretty amazing one at that, with a good story to boot. That being said, potential can't really come into this review, so why am I mentioning it? And for a completely different game. Because while Metro Last Light is a great game in its own right, and I believe that it is better than Metro 2033, Metro Last Light does not have that potential. If you clean off Last Light, I'll just call Metro Last Light for the sake of brevity from now on, but if you clean off its issues, you're just left with Diet Metro 2033. It is a game that struggles to find its own identity. Last Light alternates from some genuinely new, pretty creative ideas that improve and seem like a natural extension of Metro 2033, such as the spider bugs, and having actual boss fights, to forgetting that they're supposed to be a survival shooter and giving the player maximum ammunition. Like, look at this. This is my second playthrough, so just ignore the military grade bullets as those carried over from my previous save file, but I have nearly the maximum of all other ammunition, and I didn't buy any ammo either. This was all from scavenging. Last Light front loads the player with ammunition, which makes the earlier shootouts feel trivial and the later shootouts feel annoying, instead of carefully rationing out the ammunition like Metro 2033 did. Sure, I mentioned that in Metro 2033 I never actually ran out of ammo, but at least running out of ammunition was a possibility. If I hadn't carefully scavenged every corner of the map, then I would have been screwed. In Last Light, running out of ammo is barely an option. As per usual, I'm on Ranger Hardcore difficulty, Survival mode. Unfortunately, Last Light doesn't correct the annoying downsides of Ranger mode, so I'll just refer to you my last video where I made a brief guide on Ranger mode. If you don't want to watch the entire video, just go to this timestamp. Most of Last Light feels like the game 2033 should have been. Last Light gets rid of the vehicle sections, the terrible final level, the boring enemies, the annoying demons now take a back seat, and if by chance you do want to fight them, Lord knows why, Last Light has more weapons to do it with. Sniper rifles, a new type of pistol, a new assault rifle, and the new weapons are all awesome, as per usual. For my money, there's no better combination of weapons than the classic AK-47 and the Shambler. The 6-shot shotgun savagely slaying saboteurs that shan't stand solely stopping Artyom's subjugation. Actually, that's a lie. The real weapon is Artyom's huge, manly, meaty Russian fist. I realized there was no weapon that was superior to the Soviet male. I treated Metro like One Punch Man the video game. All kneeled before the might of my awesome fist. Oh, I'm sorry. Did y'all think I was joking? Nah. Charlie, play the clips. But anyways, the ideas. For one, the flashlight. In 2033, there wasn't much point in keeping it charged up. All the levels were well lit enough that it was never really needed. Metro is the same with the lighting, but the new enemy type, the spider bugs, are reverse to light, so if you shine your flashlight on them, they flip over, which exposes their vulnerable spot. By the way, if you melee them while they're flipped over, you can instantly kill those spider bugs without wasting ammo. The game has some interesting sequences involving them, especially when there's 2 or 3 spider bugs at one time. It's frantic, chaotic, trying to keep your flashlight on all the spider bugs, and, because spiders really freak me out, it is genuinely terrifying. I really cannot express how much immersion is added by the flashlight having such a palpable impact on the world. They also tried to make Last Light more cinematic than 2033, with more set pieces and some higher budget cutscenes, but none of the action sequences ever came off as too ridiculous, and they all feel earned within the context of the game, so for me, this is nothing but a positive. And it gives me more footage to convince you all that this game is worth playing. Which it is. The story, I think, is also better than 2033. If you had to ask me why, though, I don't know if I could tell you. But that's that wussy crap, so I'll try to tell y'all anyways. I think I like it better because while both 2033 and Last Light nail that personal investment in the plot just right off the bat, Last Light does more with that personal investment than 2033 does. In Last Light, that personal investment is used against you sometimes. And can you all tell how hard I'm trying to make this section seem interesting without spoiling the plot too much? Well, whatever. Last Light delivers some surprisingly effective character moments. Or maybe I'm just a complete sap. Either way, it worked on me. Some people might have a problem with your role in the story, namely how much bigger it's gotten. Initially, I was worried too, but it feels like a natural extension of 2033 that your role in the story is larger. And fortunately, the scope of the story increases with your role in it, so there's that traditional Eastern European sense of being a small part of a much larger whole, and the whole nothing you do really matters kind of vibe. Helped, as usual, by the soundtrack. The soundtrack is good. It's what you'd expect from a post-apocalyptic game. Lots of melancholy acoustic guitar, but there's a reason every post-apocalyptic game uses it, because it works pretty frickin' well. The main plot shows the traditional level of polish and realism that I've come to expect from the Metro series, and it just evolves until it feels like this massive world-changing conflict that culminates in an enormous final battle that I actually felt invested in and understood what was going on. No easy feat, but Last Light gets it done. Because I think the budget was a lot bigger for this game, they could also design some interesting sequence that just enhance the feel of the world, which is as amazing as ever. People just living their lives, only this time, you can interact with Last Light's world a bit more. You can give a crying child his teddy bear back, you get to listen to these old cranks grumble at each other about who's gonna die first. The little details are what make Last Light the superior Metro game. Another detail I quite like is, now Artyom, your protagonist, is something of a legend in the Metro. Does anyone remember the Frontline mission in 2033? Well, I slaughtered every Nazi and communist in sight. It took me a while, but I managed to get the achievement. It was brutally difficult, and I didn't show any gameplay from that section because it was pretty awesome and I didn't really want to spoil it. But I was shocked when I found 2 guards discussing what happened there on the Frontline mission, and speculating who could have caused such a bloodbath. In other games, that would have just come off as annoying pandering. Like, yeah, no sure, Locke. Of course I could do that. Easy peasy. I have like 5 times the health of every enemy and like 20 times the ammo of all of them. But in Metro, on the higher difficulties, I realized, Hell yeah! I deserve every bit of that legend status. I fought tooth and nail through that section, and I love that my struggle was acknowledged by the game. And then I realized that's why I'll probably always love this series. Every struggle, every triumph was 100% earned. And that's what makes Metro so satisfying to play. The levels, again, are surprisingly diverse. There's even a river in the middle of the Metro. I mean, I ain't complaining. Provide some nice scenery that breaks up the usual dark Metro tunnels than snow-covered surface. The levels, also, are scarier than in 2033 for the most part. Like, just look at this effect. Last Light realizes that what you can't see is pretty much always scarier than what you can, and it utilizes that to great effect that, combined with the excellent sound design, creating tension and unease even in the most mundane of situations, means that Last Light as a whole is much eerier than 2033. One problem with Last Light being much more character focused than 2033 is it really illustrates the graphical flaws. Like, take a look at this. It looks like that frickin' 200% Heavy Rain facial expression meme, and it expects you to take it seriously? Well, yeah, to answer my own rhetorical question. And, fortunately, the dialogue is well written enough that I could get a sense of each character. Just, try not to pay too much attention to how each character smiles. Ugh. Yikes. Even one of the villains is fairly well written and doesn't come off as some completely over-the-top stereotype. The Nazis, however, are Nazis. And they are evil. Evil Nazis. I'm fine with just having a villain to defeat, but if Infinity War proved anything, it's that you can make practically any character sympathetic. And it seems a shame that the Nazis are just plot devices for your character to overcome. I'm not trying to say that Nazis aren't bad and shouldn't be portrayed as villains. I'm just saying that since the writing is so usually excellent, it seems a shame to only apply that excellent writing to just a part of your game. So, that's Metro Last Light. By and large, it was an improvement on its predecessor. Interesting ideas, but the Metro series' main idea, the fact that it's supposed to be a survival shooter, wasn't executed as well as it should have been. And the facial animations. Ay 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 ay. It really takes so much away from an otherwise excellent game. It's a shame too. Without these flaws, Metro Last Light would be dang close to a masterpiece. But it just isn't quite there yet. Either way, both games are still definitely worth your time. They're pretty dang cheap on Steam. And, to top it off, they go on sale sometimes. I think I got both games in the Metro series as a bundle for like $10. Definitely worth playing if you're looking for something fairly fresh and not just like shoot the minorities with ever increasingly impractical Super Weapons 14. So basically, just play the frickin' games, okay? Okay.
Let's go, y'all. Let's go.